You, number one, have to make sure it's like the work you put out there is the most important thing and that you don't do it to become famous. And once again, kind of correlated to dance, that passion stems with acting. You got to be passionate about it. It cannot be a big paycheck, you know what I mean, for you, because as people watching, it's like you want to believe someone, you know what I mean? You want to be able to see that chemistry between these two people, and in order to do that, these performers have to love what they're doing and have to be passionate about showing that work and giving their best work out there, and that's the number one priority, and doing it for those reasons alone will bring you that success. It will come naturally.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Studio North podcast. Woo! Woo! Today, we are super excited to have somebody that is very close to our hearts. He is a dancer extraordinaire, director extraordinaire. He can sing, he can act. He's a triple threat. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Michael Delleva. Welcome to the pod, Michael.
Thanks for having. Okay. Wow, that's how I start. Welcome. Thanks for having. Oh my God.
So we're gonna have some new people on the podcast probably that are tuning in. Maybe a lot of international dancers that do know you, because anyone who's been to an international competition knows who Michael Delleva is. But for those who might not know you, why don't you just give like a quick, brief summary of, you know, how you got maybe into dancing, where you're at right now.
Who's Michael Delleva?
Who is Michael Delleva?
Who am I? Is that audition? Tell me about yourself. Oh, I hate that question. Okay, but I love it for today.
Tell us about yourself, Michael.
So my name is Michael Delleva. I was born in the Philippines. And I came here when I was 3 years old. And so originally, how I got into dance was, that's actually where I met both of y'all at Don Bosco Youth Center, hey. The blue floors of the OLGC gym. My mom wanted, I love to sing growing up, and so my mom actually put me into the praise team choir, and then I remember seeing all of them dancing, and so I took my first class with praise team, and it's kind of just gone through there, and now using dance as kind of like a little career path, and hopefully to keep pursuing dance as I go. I met Carmen actually through our youth group. Yep. And she taught me when I was like, 12? Oh my gosh. 12
Surrey
years
one.
old. Surrey 1 reppin'. And we danced for our big, like, it's called Pre-Con. It was like our big event that we'd have with all the youth from different like cities, like Coquitlam, you know, those massive cities like Maple Ridge. And then I met Scott, and then he taught me with Brotherhood.
Hey. OG, original group that competed at HHI. We got to do some dancing. You got the dub.
We got the dub.
World champion
in 2013, and yeah, so that's how I started. You know, like being in musical theater, kind of like being in the arts has always been something I've been very passionate about. And so, you know, like getting into praise team and starting to sing and starting to dance, like to be honest, I grew up very, very introverted, like before dance, before all of that. Like I always, I know this is like, oh, this is so traumatic, but like I always felt like someone that never really had value in like what I had to say sometimes. Whoa, we're getting really deep. Always right from the get-go.
It's great.
But when I was young, you know, I was always like always feeling shy to say something, being afraid of being wrong. So I always felt like I kind of kept to myself. But with dance, I met a lot of people. It became like a big community. And that's what I'm very grateful for to this day, is that it is a community and a support system that, you know, I have like a team right now, like with Northside, that I can rely on like 35 people, you know, to be there for me whenever I need it. And not a lot of things in this world have that community. So that's something I'm super grateful for. And that's something that is one of the biggest reasons why I stay in dance. On top of loving it, is that it is a community, and it's with people that I truly like love and care about, which is really nice. And yeah.
That was great.
Did I answer that question?
You answered that perfectly, bro. You're doing amazing. What's wild to hear is to hear that like naturally being introverted, because if anyone knows you or like gets to know you, they just see how like much of you just exude love and you exude just going out of your way to say hi to people that you might not know. It's pretty cool. I got to pump your tires a little bit. Like, I feel like you're the definition of community. You're the definition of going out and meeting people that, you know, you've never met before, and you just make them feel like so welcome and so loved. Doesn't matter what event we're at, what competition. That's why I think you make a great MC. You're also hilarious. But you just make people feel like they belong. And that's just like that's a talent, and that's a skill. Whether or not you've been working on it, I just need to like commend you for that. You're community mans.
Life of the party.
Yes, you are life of the party,
I'm
dude.
just crazy. I think I'm just so crazy. That's why.
Maybe a little bit too.
I'm a little bit crazy.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, we've had the privilege of directing together, which has been so fun back in Praise Team.
Yeah.
And yeah, something I admire about you in directing specifically, because you're so fun and like crazy, but you can like turn it on when like you need to be, when you want something from your dancers, which I really like respect, and what I think our dancers respected of you too. But yeah, I just wanted to ask, your thoughts on what makes a good director, or like back to your directing days. Like, well, you're still directing.
Yeah, a bit more freelance. I'm a freelance
Not
director.
as much as before.
This was a lot before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
For a while. I think I've always just liked making routines and kind of having this little vision in my head of what is going to be on stage. I think that's kind of always been where I was as a choreographer, and it's different for everybody. So as a director, I always was so excited to have, like, for example, big numbers of dancers, of like 30 people, where this is very weird, but as a choreographer, I don't see the choreography first. I see the blocking and the staging first, which is very weird. Is that like, I see what the whole routine is going to look like in like a Bellagio standpoint of like, this side is going to do da-da-ba, boom, boom, ba, and this side is going to go chabala, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, but I don't know what the moves are, but I know it's going to look fantastic
the vision.
once it starts.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what, I was always known for like blocking and visuals. And so I would always start with that, and then I do my choreography afterwards. And being a dancer and being a choreographer and being a director, there's such 3 completely different things and 3 completely different skills. Like, I may not think I'm the best dancer, but I do feel like I have a lot to offer as a director. You know, is that like, one thing too is that as a director, it just requires a lot of patience. It's like a lot of, nowadays it's like, I think this gets a little cheesy, a little corny. It's like nowadays it's like a very instant gratification thing of like, are we winning now? Are we doing this now? Are we doing that now? It's like we didn't have the privilege of being able to just post something and then potentially go viral in like within a week, or kind of like take 1,000 dance classes and, just push and like become so great in 6 months. Like, we had to literally work from like ground zero to get to where we are. And so I think the patience is what kind of helped me become a better director, is that I've also learned that it's like every single dancer has a different skill set, and it's like you have to cater to those specific dancers. And I think I'm getting a little bit off topic here.
No, that's good.
But yeah, so one thing I've always wanted to do is make sure that all my dancers get the best training that they possibly can. And so I think that I've always made it a goal to create lifelong dancers. And so it's really nice, for example, to see people that I've been teaching in the past, for example, in Brotherhood Varsity and all these Praise Teens and all these groups that we used to teach at, now dancing beside me. It's like I've always wanted to make sure that as a director, like, the first thing I always wanted to care about was the growth of the dancers and making sure that they get to where they need to be to hopefully be the next directors. That was always the goal, is that we have long-lasting directors so that the Vancouver community consistently builds. And so that's why every time I see, like, I actually, like, gentle flex over here. Like, I used to teach, like, Maria and Adrian, like, back when we were in our high school dance phases. And, like, now look at them. They're literally, like, all-stars. Like, Adrian's, like, teaching at, like, Holland one week and then going to, like, I don't know, did he go to Brazil yet? Going to India the next week. And it's just like, oh, sorry, I'm going to India, but I'll be back next week to rehearse. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. It's just like this guy from Surrey is like going out doing these massive big things, and it's just like the more passionate you are, the more you invest in yourself and, you know, and all these things. It's like there's all these things that you thought were dreams are actually so possible. And so that's just one thing is directing is just like the excitement and that want to uplift everyone and yourself, you know what I mean? So I hope that answered my question. I have a tendency to ramble.
No. With what you said, though, I'm going to push back and I'm going to correct you. You are a phenomenal dancer.
Yes.
And I think anyone that watches you dance would agree. You are like one of the best performers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You're a world you're a world champion at HHI, at World of Dance, at Body Rock, everywhere. Vibe? You competed with us at Vibe? Yeah, you competed with us at Vibe. Like you've won every competition. You've been part of all the biggest teams, and like just watching you perform is just so fun. Like it's just it's so nice to watch you perform because you're having so much fun and you just go all the way off. And so yeah, I think I just need to push back a little bit because I think you have a tendency of like downplaying that and saying like, okay, well that's why I got into directing. I'm like, no, you were a phenomenal dancer. Everyone gravitated towards you, and then you just stepped into a leadership position, and then now you're investing into the future generations for like now it maybe even feels like sometimes you're a grandpa because you taught somebody that then taught somebody, and that was because of your hard work and dedication. So got to give you your flowers, and I got to push back because I'm going to put all these clips here and here and here of you dancing and performing. And I think that sometimes we can, you know, as dancers, we can get so caught up in this, which is important to go after like the technique and the details and like really trying to hone in and perfect the craft. But a lot of the time it comes down to performing. Like there's not enough emphasis on how to perform when you're on stage. And I feel like you're just a natural performer. Like you're a triple threat. You sing, you dance, and you act, which I want to get into here shortly. But before we get to that, first of all, there's your pump because you need that. You need that.
Thank you.
But I don't feel like you're alone in that. I feel like a lot of us, we're our own biggest critic.
Yeah.
We always are looking at the other people around us, and we're always like, man, they're so good. And then we start getting self-conscious. So you're not alone in that at all. But you're wrong. So just wanted to make that point there. When did you do you remember when you first got into directing? Like what was one of your first teams or opportunities that you got to direct?
Yeah, so the first thing I did was my high school dance team. I think that's what it is that, so I didn't make it into my actual dance team because I know I'm so
Michael Jordan over here. Let's go.
I didn't make it to my actual dance team, and so I decided to make my own.
Let's go.
Dance team. I guess they were the senior dance squad, and I guess like they only wanted to take a certain amount of like little kids on their team, and I totally get it, but they didn't have any juniors, and so I made our junior dance team, and I kind of picked out like Adrian Vendiola and like Kim Nguyen, a lot of these, these Jerome Hawkson, a lot of these people who were in Brotherhood and all that stuff. And like, I remember I would watch Adrian Vendiola. Shout out to Adrian. I don't know if you ever remember those bang-on scarves. Did you ever wear those, those hype bang-on scarves that you get at, like, what is that? Yeah, at Bang-On. The American Apparel hoodie days.
Yes.
Like, I remember I would see Adrian do something like sea walking with his camera, like, down here and just taking a video of his feet moving. I'm like, yo, that guy's so sick. And so I'm like, yo, do you want to, like, make a dance team together with me? You want to join? I can like teach you some moves. And he's like, but he had to play volleyball. He was like an all-star volleyball player.
And so always was trying to find an excuse not to dance.
Not to dance.
Not to dance. He's for Brotherhood. He blamed homework. Grade 10. It's a grade 10 or grade 9.
Grade 10 math.
Yeah.
Dang it. Grade 10 social studies. So
hard.
busy. So hard.
Anyways,
and so he was like, his dilemma was like, oh, do I become an all-star volleyball player or all-star dancer? Because the practices would conflict. And I'm like, you choose. I'm not waiting for you. Like a dramatic love story. And so, like, he chose to do dance. And then, like, the rest was history from there. Like, we were so bad. Like, our videos, oh, my gosh. I hope if you could see our videos, it's just like, it was awful. It was awful. Like, it was humble beginnings, which is great.
All of us, yeah.
All of us, humble beginnings. And so, like, that's when I first started, directing. And taking on that leadership role. And so like, and then from there we kind of all started teaching it together. And then, you know, with Praise Team, like they gave me my first kind of like job to teach like little kids. It was what did I teach? Intermediate hip hop with Melissa Medella.
Hey.
Shout out to Melissa Medella, the grooving queen. And then afterwards, I started teaching a CNC with Mikey.
Right.
And then which a lot of those dancers, you know, have grown up to be super fantastic now, which takes some pride into that one. And then from there, I guess I just started teaching more and, you know, started directing more. And yeah, that's kind of where it started and where it's keeping on going. And like, you know, now like being in Northside, like, you know, like with now Adrian being the one directing me. So the roles have reversed and it's super fun. Super fun, yeah.
Okay, I think we should transition over into another big topic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting with a superstar here. That's you. Mr. Actor over here. You might have seen him on some TV commercials, maybe on some Netflix. Mm-hmm. You're everywhere. It's unreal.
I have a tendency when people like talk about me, I always go, I get in an eggshell of like weird feelings. I'm like, I can't take a compliment. It's hard.
Get used to it because they're coming. Yeah. Dude, you're acting now. You made that leap. Like we said before, you're a triple threat. You can do it all. He does it all, folks. What's that? How did that happen? What's that been like?
Yeah. So funny thing is that brotherhood at the Canadian Hip Hop Championships, we competed. This was back in 2013. We competed at the Canadian Hip Hop Championships, and I decided to do a promposal that day for this girl named Kiana Smith. Shout out for Kiana Smith. She's from the island and now killing it in Toronto. She's a rock star. I got to know her and I was like, she's the best person ever, and I'm gonna ask her out to prom. And I'm like, how do I do that? And so I decided to get Dream Chasers. They were like the baby brotherhoods. And some of them actually turned into adult brotherhood, which is awesome. I asked them to spell the PROM and then one of them to give the flowers. And I sang and I did like this promposal for Kiana on stage. I asked the host if I could I like do this promposal and be super public and try to be extroverted as much as I can? And she was like, yeah, sure. And so I did it. She said yes. And the host was had an agent and she was scouting for people. And she said, hey, I'm going to give you their number and I want you to reach out to them. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what is this agent thing? And so I reached out to my current agent. Her name is Sarah Parker. She's incredible. Been with her for so many years. And she signed me on to the agency. And I want to also give a big shout out to Ariel Tuliao and Manny Jacinto, who are also incredible, phenomenal actors. And you can see Ariel in Good Doctor, a whole bunch of things. And Manny Jacinto literally in everything. The Good Place. And this new Star Wars one that's coming out. And they helped me a lot in my beginnings and kind of how to get me started. And so I started taking a lot of acting classes, mostly in this past couple years, because I feel like dance has kind of taken over my life. But in this past couple years, I've started to truly be extra passionate towards acting. And fast forward to what I think 10 years later, I actually ended up booking a role where I got to do a promposal for a girl in a movie called To All the Boys I Loved Before. And it's the third movie, and I got to do a promposal, and it was like, is it full 180 or full 360?
Full circle.
Full circle. Did a full 180. Time to say.
It's close.
Full 2050. And I got to do a promposal for now a movie where it's like, whoa, it's art imitates life. I think I used that wrong, actually. Just scratch that. That is not going in the podcast. But it was so cool to be able to do that. And now, kind of go from there. Funny enough, I wasn't even supposed to play that role. Maddie Ziegler, she's like the Dance Moms girl. She was supposed to play that role, but she didn't want to come to Vancouver only for such a short amount of time to do that. So I was the backup dancer originally, and the choreographer Louise Hardsky. Oh my God, I think I did not pronounce it. Louise. I think I pronounced her last name wrong. Louise. Louise was choreographer. She's like, do you want to play the role? And I'm like, let me think about it. Yes. Yes, I'd love to. And then the rest was history from there. And now taking classes, doing all these things. And it's been such a great journey, very humbling journey, because it's super, super hard. It's especially as a dancer, it's like I'm so used to being choreographed all the time and being very like, what's this and what's that. And so as an actor, you have to kind of be able to be very organic. And that was something that was a little tough for me at first, but it's kind of been that journey, and I'm still learning a lot from there.
That's so cool. I didn't know that story. I remember that you promposed or whatever, but I didn't know that's where it all started. So it's so cool that it's just who you are already. And then they were like, they saw something in you just from you being you. Like, it wasn't an audition. It wasn't like you were seeking it out. Like, it literally came to you. I think that's so cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
What's meant for you, that's always firm believer, what's meant for you will happen. And I think that was like the testament of that phrase. I'm so weird.
No, it's always hard to end your thought. I find, especially in the podcast, I'm always like, what did I say? Or what did I mean to say? But it's all good.
I have no idea what I just said, but I know that was like 80 minutes long. And I'm like,
it was great. So as of, today's date, what would be some TV shows, movies, commercials that people, might recognize you in?
I feel so weird. Like,
no,
tell
us.
So I did my first dramatic role. I feel like I've always been the comedy guy in this industry, and so I've always wanted to do something dramatic, which is really, really nice. I got to book my first episode of The Good Doctor, and it's season 6, episode 9, Broken or Not. That's the title. If you ever want to watch it, it has to do with, kind of the story of a character named Teddy who's bulimic and has a lot of weight issues, and that's something I've always struggled with my whole life. So it was really nice to be able to tell a story where I got to share that like these issues are real, and it's something that weight's something I've always struggled with, and so it was nice to kind of be able to play the story for anyone that may be also struggling with certain things as well. To all the boys, second and third, my little couple one-lines in there. I'm in a musical show called Schmigadoon. Yeah. It's on Apple TV. It's really fun. If you're a musical theater nerd, go and watch the show. And my current one is a new show called The Holiday Shift on Roku. Which was filmed in Winnipeg, so I got to live in the exotic Winnipeg for a couple months, which was actually really fun. It was so much fun, such a great experience, and that's out right now on the Roku platform. If you want to, oh no, I have to burp. I did it. I tried to do it. Very chill. And it's funny because there's a guy on that set who's from Surrey as well. His name is Jean-Luc Bilodeau. And it was really cool to talk about some childhood stories about the Surrey life and sharing those things. So it was my first really big role. And so it was really, really nice to have a bit of familiarity in that. And so shout out to Jean-Luc and the entire cast of that show. They're fantastic. And it's on Roku. Humble try to sneak in. What is that word? I'm trying
plug.
Humble plug. Humble tried to sneak in with my fob roots from the Philippines.
Killed it. And I think it was my dad recognized you on TV.
Oh, Mr. Lube.
Yeah. My dad was just watching TV and he sends me a photo and he's like, "Is this Michael?" And I'm like, "That's for sure Michael. You're just on TV everywhere. Prime time."
And I have no idea how to even touch a tire, how to fix a tire. And I think that's why they wanted me to do the commercial. Like, this guy looks like he has absolutely no idea how to do anything with cars. So I'm going to book him for this commercial.
Yo,
I'm like,
you're
thanks.
perfect, bro. You're perfect.
Like, to be there from the very beginning of your journey and to see where you are now, and it's not even over. Like, you're still just absolutely killing it and getting bigger and bigger. You deserve everything that's coming to you. You're family to us. You've been with us from like the very beginning through all the ups, all the downs. And you emceed our wedding. Like, just for people that don't know, and they're like, "Oh, they just danced together." It's like, no, like, I feel like everyone we've had on this season of the podcast, we've chosen specifically because they are family to us. Like we go back with all of them, and they just really mean a lot to us. And I feel like you're like, you are like in the top. I'm not gonna give a number, but as to
number
like,
one. Don't be afraid to say I am number one. Just kidding.
But for real, like as for the people that have been with us from the very beginning, like you knew us before we even started dating or like even knew each other.
True.
You know, like we and to be able to stay close with someone this long, and every time we meet up, it's like, you know, it could have been weeks, months, whether we're traveling or you're booking stuff in exotic Winnipeg, but then you come back and it's like nothing's changed. Does that make sense? You know, where like some people, it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long, and then they're like, oh yeah, and they feel that distance. With us, it's just like, dude, like we don't like. I feel like we've gone through so much and we've been through so much that we don't need to see each other for like maybe even a year, and we'll come back and it's literally we just start off where we ended off. And I think that's like very rare. So that's something that we love about you, and I feel like a lot of people feel the same way about you. Everyone that knows you feels the same way about you.
Yeah, you're doing all these big things, but you're still so humble. You're still like our friend or our family. Like nothing's ever changed.
Dude, it does not go to your head at all.
Yeah, and it should.
It should, dude. The stuff
Even
that
a
you're
little
doing.
bit or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool to see you
like,
kill it.
To All the Boys is like one of my favorite rom-coms of all
She
time.
watches
It's so
it all the
funny.
time.
I'm like, Michael's there.
I just see her watching, just crying. Oh yeah, it's All the Boys.
It's a great movie.
So, kind of the boo. One question I want to ask. So again, for dancers who are looking to get into acting, what, especially in Vancouver, I feel like it's a good time to get in. Lots of film and TV here. What would your advice be for the dancer that's looking to follow in Michael Delleva's footsteps of wanting to pursue that? What would you suggest or recommend for him to do?
Yeah. So, for the first thing is you have to make sure you know if you want to be a dancer in the industry or, an actor in the industry as well, because they're two very different paths. A lot of the auditions that you do get in Vancouver, for the most part, it's very, acting related if you do get an agent, other than if you join DaCosta and Premier, where it's very predominantly dance agencies. And so if you're a dancer that wants to become an actor, I do recommend that you still obviously, of course, take classes, but sign up for acting classes for one. I think that's another thing too, is that you need to make sure that you hone that craft. Just like as a dancer, it's you got to take all these dance classes in order to get better. With acting, it's the same skill set. You got to learn how to do all these things. And so once you take those acting classes, then you can start building yourself up and be more confident in that sense. And then afterwards get an agent. There's so many amazing agencies in Vancouver. Just a little thing is that if you see these ads of just spend $5,000 and you can be the next Hannah Montana and all these things. Why am I doing all these weird accents right now? If you spend $5,000 in this program, you can get signed up for these agencies like John Robert Powers, these things that you see on news and media. Do not ever do that. Number one thing is once you get an agent, you never have to pay money until you start getting paid first. That's the number one thing, is that once you get an agent, a legitimate agent will take a cut of the amount of money you get. So if you don't work for an entire year, your agent doesn't work for an entire year for you too. So you never have to ever pay money up front. That's one thing. So beware of scams, beware of all these things. And then once you start auditioning, or once you start getting an agent, that's when the real hard work starts. Once you get an agent, it's not I'm successful. No, it's I've been doing this a long time, and it's only been the first couple years where I've started to truly, get these bigger opportunities. It's definitely a lot of hard work, a lot of no's, hundreds and hundreds of no's. You gotta get really thick skin. You got to have thick skin because they're going to tell you all these things and tell you all these, you're 99% of the time you're not going to book the roles, and it's that grit. You need a lot of grit in order to keep pursuing this. And once again, kind of correlated to dance, which I'm very grateful for with dance, is that passion stems with acting. You got to be passionate about it. It cannot be a big paycheck. You know what I mean? For you, because I'm not going to lie. If you think if you're joining acting to become rich, that is wrong. That is so wrong, because you're broke and you're going to be needing to do all these extra jobs in order to be able to fuel your passion for acting. So it's like you got to make sure you're so passionate about doing the craft. It's like you number one have to make sure it's like the work you put out there is the most important thing, and that you don't do it to become famous. You don't, it's a plus, it's a plus to do it and to get all these acknowledgement and all these things. But it's like the number one thing is that your passion and the way you perform in front of the camera is what comes first and what's the best. Because that's the thing, like as people watching, it's like, you want to believe someone, you know what I mean? You want to be able to see that chemistry between these two people. And in order to do that, these performers have to love what they're doing and have to be passionate about showing that work and giving their best work out there. And that's the number one priority. And doing it for those reasons alone will bring you that success. It will come naturally. What's meant for you, it's meant for you. And when you have that, it will kind of push through from there. And also, don't be nervous to put yourself out there. I think it's hard. It's so competitive. Like this industry is so competitive, and it's like you got to stand out in so many ways. So it's like, do dance and do these. I know this is really random, but random skills will help you. Like rollerblading, like being able to take more singing lessons, and like being able to play tennis sometimes, like all these random skills. Yeah, fencing.
Wow.
Like there's shows
You can do
about,
all of this.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can juggle. It's these little things. It's like we need an actor that can ride a bike. We need an actor that can ride a motorcycle. And then sometimes like I can do it. You put all these things in your resume. It's just like keep building your skills. Like every day learn something new. And it's like, like a lot of the roles I get is because I was able to sing for this role and it gave me an acting role. I was able to dance for this role, gave me an acting role. So it's like just kind of explore a lot of the creativity that you have, and like sometimes it can lead to you to like do all these awesome things. Like there's a girl in Schmigadoon as well. She what's it called? She said she can rollerblade, but I don't think she could rollerblade. And she said she could, but she just worked the heck out of it before the show, and then boom, she rollerbladed on the show and she got a big role, which is awesome. I'm actually that is condoning lying behavior, so maybe I take that back. So I actually know how to rollerblade, and then do those things. Specifically rollerblading,
Yeah.
and then do those things. So that's that. Boom, bada boom.
Dude, that's all great advice. I also, what you touched on, don't do it just to be famous. I feel like that's over all arts, all arts and all sports. I feel like no one big that we know of did it just for the sake of, like do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like do it because you love it. And if you love it, you're going to want to do it a lot and you're going to get a lot better at it. And you're probably going to get noticed. So I feel like that transcends not just acting, but dancing, choreographing, directing, singing, everything really. Just do it because you love it, and then all the things or all the success will follow. But if you just pursue it, going after, wanting to be well known, though I feel like those people, like even like, rap artists, music artists, like I feel like they just kind of fall flat on their face if they just chase that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great advice. I love that. And it transcends all art forms. So much wisdom. So many gold nuggets in there.
Wise,
I love chicken nuggets. I'm hungry.
Is there, I mean, we'll probably wrap up the pod here, but is there any last kind of thoughts, words of wisdom, anything you want to talk about or throw out there? You're giving me the look like no. Or anything you're passionate about right now?
I was like, the only thing that came to my mind for some reason
yes,
is when you sprayed a fire extinguisher on me in Mexico. I don't know why, but I just picture that right now. So for those of you that don't know, me, Carmen, and Scott, we go to Mexico every year for a dance competition. And, we have a lot of fun. And I decided to slap Scott in the face. I don't know why.
it just happens.
I don't know why. I decided to slap Scott in the face.
Pina coladas.
Too many pina coladas.
Too many
for
pina
Michael.
coladas and strawberry daiquiris. I accidentally called it strawberry daiquiri one time, and nobody ever let me live it down. Strawberry daiquiri. And so Scott just sprayed me with a fire extinguisher, and I swear I couldn't talk for like 2 weeks.
Dude,
I should have gone to the doctors.
I'm so
I
sorry.
did.
I felt so bad after I did it. I'd never done it before. I was curious.
I think it was just right there, and I think you just like, this is the perfect opportunity. Someone slapping me in the face. I deserved it.
No, I'm sorry. It was just like yellow everywhere.
Yeah.
It like ruined.
Expired. It was expired. What is it? What is that thing? Expired extinguishing cream. It was not exfoliating. It was not good for the skin. That's for sure.
Dude, there's so many of those, man. I feel like there's so many memories.
Or lack of memories.
Nice.
In Mexico.
I feel like we could have a whole nother, and we will definitely have you back on the podcast. We can just talk about old memories and more stuff, and more congratulations next time you come back on. I'm sure you're going to be doing more things and featured in more films and commercials and TV shows. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you online? Plug yourself, plug away.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you both so much for bringing me here today. Sorry for a lot of the rambling going on, but I'm just saying, like you said, we're family, you know, and it's like, no matter if we haven't seen each other for like 2 years, you know, and then we see each other, it's like always back where we left off, and always a great time. So thank you for that. I'm so proud of both of your ventures and everything that you both are doing. Thank you for giving so much to the community. Thank you for allowing other people now to be able to, you know, hear our voices and be able to share this wisdom as well. So thank you for that. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring others. And I'm so excited where Studio North and where your ideas and everything are going. And so, you know that I'm right here with y'all, like, behind you, supporting you, especially if it's trips. Take me. I love trips. And you can find me on...
It's so true.
Just no fire extinguishers.
No more fire extinguishers, I promise.
You can find me on my Instagram, Michael Delleva, MichaelDelleva. It's going to be on here.
I'll make it there.
Yeah, on Instagram. I don't really have any other platforms.
What
Maybe
about
make a YouTube one day.
You're a foodie.
Oh, yeah. My goal in life is to eat at every single sushi restaurant in the Lower Mainland.
Wow.
I've been to 212 so far. Yeah.
Whoa.
There's over 600, so I still have a long way to go. So if you want to see my... Yeah, I eat out a lot.
Dude.
I spend a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
I'm like, that's where all my paychecks go to. This tummy over here. You can find me on Michael's Food Ventures. And I don't post as often, but I'm going to post more. And sushi and all things, everything else will be on there as well.
Well, thank you again, Michael. We loved having you. We loved laughing.
I think that's the most I've laughed in one of these episodes.
It was great. And we can't wait to have you back. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you like this episode, please subscribe, share it, all the fun, goody things. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Woo! Peace.
Boom, bada boom.